And y'all can laugh at me. It's fine. I will be your spectacle. I will be your laughing spectacle. You can all laugh at me. It's fine.
Well, you know what? I think we're just going to shut this down because I'm not into all this melodrama and you playing the victim and everything. So you're saying the audience is making a spectacle out of you. That's not what I'm about. That's not what I do. I had you come here to help you. And you're saying people are ridiculing, making fun of you. You're going to be a spectacle. I don't want to be any part of that. I'm sorry. So, you know what? This has just gone in a really bad direction. I'm going to talk with Jasmine. I'm going to talk with your mother. And I'm just going to let you head on home and go because I'm not going to play.
Is there anything I can say to fix this? I'm so sorry.
No, all of this melodrama about ridiculing the audience and they can laugh at you and all that. I don't play those kind of games. You're very manipulative and I'm not interested in all of that. So I'm going to let Bailey move on, and when I come back, I'm going to talk to Jasmine about how to protect herself.
He's the greatest manipulator of all time. His whole show is a spectacle. Oh. I recently uploaded a Dr. Phil critique where I had a bit of a go at him for being rude to one of his guests, a young girl. I was accused of not watching the whole episode and taking it out of context. So here I am watching the whole episode and putting it back into context. Okay, I'm not actually going to make you watch me watch Dr. Phil for a whole hour, but I did watch the whole thing and all it did was reaffirm that Dr. Phil is a big douchebag. He seemed to protect his own audience more than he tried to protect this young girl on his show. He reeks self-entitlement, self-righteousness and narcissistic traits. But worse, clinically speaking, there's some things that he just doesn't get right and I want to show you those now. Okay, I'll give you a little context first, just so you don't have to go and watch the whole episode also. The girl on the screen, her name is Bailey, and she is the guest on the show. The reason she's there is because she is delusional. She is in love with this other girl called Jasmine, who she knows only through text messages and her pursuit of Jasmine via social media. Jasmine has made it very clear to Bailey that she wants nothing to do with her, and in fact, she doesn't even know her. But Bailey has some signs of delusional disorder. She believes that Jasmine is communicating with her telepathically and moves clothing around and makes water bubble on her desk. She believes she has to pray to Denzel Washington in order to interpret the signs that Jasmine is sending her. And she pursues Jasmine rather relentlessly, despite Jasmine clearly saying she's not interested and doesn't know her. Now that's delusional disorder. There are different kinds of delusional disorder, but essentially delusional disorder is a type of mental health condition where the patient doesn't really know the difference between what's real and what's imagined. And in Bailey's head, this is all very real. It's hard to argue with someone who's delusional because that's the whole idea of the disorder. It's not grounded in reality. I should also say at no time is Bailey rude to Dr. Phil. She calls him sir, she's polite, she's respectful, she's well-mannered, and quite frankly, she puts up with a lot of flack from Dr. Phil and his audience. What I find really sad through this is Dr. Phil doesn't seem to know how to engage with someone who's delusional. When you are dealing with a delusional person, you don't want to get caught up in the content of the delusion. What you want to do is touch the emotion that underpins the delusion. What is it that's causing Bailey to pursue this relationship with this person who really she doesn't know at all?
And she would delete a picture, like on Instagram. And so that's kind of how I would know that I was still allowed to message her, was I would be messaging her and I would be scared, but then she would delete a photo. And so I would continue to message her, and then she would delete a photo. And I have screenshots of all of this in my phone.
So what Bailey is saying in there is just Jasmine deleting photos and putting on messages on social media were signs, well, at least she interpreted them as signs that Jasmine was communicating with her. That's delusional.
I delete photos every day. I'm not telling you to tweet me.
Yes, sir, I understand.
And hearing the audience laugh at this, you can see Bailey. Every time the audience laughs, you can viscerally see the way she responds to this. It's horrible.
Yes, sir, I understand.
She says, I don't know you. What don't you understand about that? But explain this. How do you interpret this?
I understand and interpret that as she doesn't know me, that I don't understand, that I should have stopped.
Don't tell me what you think I want to hear. Tell me what you really think.
If she tells him what she really thinks, she's humiliated. The audience will laugh at her. She's caught between a rock and a hard place here, and you can see it. She pauses. She knows what she's meant to say. She knows what Dr. Phil wants her to say. But if she's honest and she tells him what she really thinks, she's going to be divulging her delusion, in which case everyone's going to laugh and she can't win.
I started to see things move, and they have footage of it. But I would never have believed this had stuff not started moving on me, and I was freaked out. It started one night. The door started moving on me, and I was scared. And
Okay, well, you say we have footage because the water rippled?
it was a shirt on a rack. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Have you studied the principle of parsimony?
No, sir, I have not.
Have you studied Occam's razor?
Well, of course she hasn't studied those principles. They're grounded in psychological academia. I mean, why ask her that? Is that just to make him look better or to shame her? I don't know. Stupid question.
No, sir, I'm not. I don't know what those words mean. I'm sorry.
Okay. Here's what they mean. The simplest explanation of a phenomenon is more often best.
This is true. It's very true, but not in the context of delusions. I mean, when we're working with someone with delusions, we want to try and gently challenge the delusion. We certainly want to give them other possibilities to think about what else could be happening here and get them to sort of work their way through a rationalizing process. But I wouldn't sit with the client and say, well, do you know what Occam's razor is? Do you know what the principle of parsimony is? And try to lecture to them.
It's been a daily battle. It's been every single day, wake up and feel like, are you crazy or are you not?
I know people use the word crazy, just slang, and I do too. I'll say, oh man, that's crazy. But when you use it in this context of describing yourself, crazy is a derogatory term. And you're not crazy as you're using that term.
What he misses here, I mean, what he's saying is accurate, but what he's missing is that is how she feels. He seems to just skim over the emotional component of the delusion. She feels crazy because part of her knows this isn't grounded in reality. He's missing the emotion. He has Dr. Sophie come on now, and Dr. Sophie does a much better job of asking an emotionally based question. Remember, with delusions, we don't get caught up in the content. We look at the emotion that underpins it. Have a look how Dr. Sophie handles this, just slightly differently.
You're sitting here awfully quiet, which is unusual for you.
It is. So it's too painful for you to do what Dr. Phil's suggesting. These don't fit. I should let her alone. Why do you think it's so painful?
To leave her alone?
Yeah, and to realize that you're using these loose associations.
So straight away, Dr. Sophie goes to the why does it feel so painful? It's the emotional component. How does Dr. Phil have a show? I mean, I don't find anything appealing about him. Clinically, he's off. His personality to me is boring. He reeks narcissism. I mean, I know I'm not everyone's cup of tea, but I also don't have my own TV show and I'm not worth billions of dollars. Someone, please explain it to me. One thing that is particularly distressing in this whole video is where Bailey is extremely distressed. She's at breaking point. She's humiliated and she feels ashamed. And rather than pick up on that emotion, Dr. Phil takes that opportunity to get his claws out and go in one last time. Watch this.
And y'all can laugh at me. It's fine. I will be your spectacle. I will be your laughing spectacle. You can all laugh at me. It's
Well,
fine.
you know what? I think we're just going to shut this down because I'm not into all this melodrama and you playing the victim and everything.
Playing the victim. She's a young girl with a mental health condition. So rather than respond to that emotion, rather than respond to that distress, he makes a final mockery of her, and she's done at that point. She actually apologizes to him, which I find disgraceful. He calls her manipulative. One of the biggest mistakes people make in genuine mental health conditions is assuming the person is manipulating. This girl is not manipulating, and Dr. Phil, being a psychologist, a TV psychologist, should at least recognize that and protect her, not exploit her.
So you're saying the audience is making a spectacle out of you. That's not what I'm about. That's not what I do. I had you come here to help you. And you're saying people are ridiculing, making fun of you, you're going to be a spectacle. I don't want to be any part of that.
So I'm not.
I'm sorry. So, you know what? this has just gone in a really bad direction. I'm going to talk with Jasmine. I'm going to talk with your mother, and I'm just going to let you head on home and go, because I'm not going to play.
Is there anything I can say to fix this? I'm so sorry.
No, all of this melodrama about ridiculing the audience, and they can laugh at you and all.
No, all this melodrama. The fact she apologised, I'm stopping, because if I have to deal with another second of Dr. Phil, I'm going to need psychiatric help.